So I am going to officially call to order the 97th State Annual Meeting of the American Association of University Women is now in session. So welcome, and I'm going to introduce Pat Squire, who is going to remind us of our mission, vision, and diversity statements.
Thank you, Sue. It was wonderful to hear from Gloria and for her to remind us the importance of our mission. So our state mission is AAUW of Oregon promotes advocacy, takes action to empower women and girls, and connects branches with national AAUW. Our vision is that we empower all women and girls to reach their highest potential. We empower them and we help them. Our diversity statement, in principle and practice, AAUW values and seeks a diverse membership. There shall be no barriers to full participation in this organization on the basis of race, gender, creed, age, sexual orientation, national origin, disability, or class. Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you, Pat. We appreciate you. All right, we have officers to elect and plans to adopt and business to do. So let's get going. I'm going to introduce Nancy Brown, who's going to give us some housekeeping stuff.
Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to see so many familiar Zoom faces here for our third virtual annual meeting, hopefully our last, but you never know. So housekeeping, it's kind of online keeping. Please stay on mute unless you are specifically called on to speak. Because if you're not on mute and you make a noise, the camera's going to go to you. And we want to keep the camera on our speakers. I really don't want to have to just spotlight them. I want us to have a conversation together, but keep yourself on mute. When you are done speaking, please mute yourself again so I don't have to find you and mute you. We are recording this session, as you probably heard when we started the recording. If you do not speak, you will not be in the recording if you have a concern about your face being on the recording. Closed captioning has been enabled. If you wish to use it, find the transcribe closed CC button on the bottom of your Zoom window and turn it on for yourself. That way you can read along if you're not able to hear everything that's going on. So, and also I can see who makes a noise. So I'm going to call you out. So closed caption is turned on. If you have a question about anything, put it in the chat to me, Nancy Brown, or actually put it to AAUW of Oregon. I guess that's how I'm called myself for this part. Voting will take place using the virtual hand raise feature. To raise your virtual hand, you will click reactions. That's at the bottom of your Zoom menu. Then you will select the raise hand. Don't give us any other stuff at that time because it doesn't count it. The system counts it for us, so we don't have to go through and say 1, 2, 3. Okay, so please use the raise hand feature if you are a delegate. If you are not a delegate and it's a vote for delegates, don't vote, please. There's a D next to your name if you are a delegate. If you don't have a D and you are a delegate, please let me know in the chat. All right, let's see. There's other reactions you'll notice when you go to the reactions section. You can use those, for example, if you want to celebrate or do something fun, but not during voting. Only raise your virtual hand during voting. I think I am, okay. So let's see. Call-in audio participants can press 9 to raise their hand. I have not seen any today. We've had a few this week, but I haven't seen any today. For mobile apps, tap the raise hand on the more menu. I think that's still correct. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. The more menu is 3 dots and it should have a raise hand function. Yes, an easy trick, thank you. An easy trick to remember to temporarily unmute yourself is to hold the space bar down while you are speaking. As soon as you stop pushing the space bar, you go back to being muted. Okay, so if you're going to just say a brief something, hold your space bar down while you are speaking. All right, voting. You should have received the annual meeting workbook and officer reports documents via email. I will put the link to access the documents in chat in a few minutes. If you cannot access them, put your email into chat and what document you need, and I will email it to you. So that's the workbook. To make a motion, type it into chat. I will copy it from chat into Word and share on the screen so all can see it. It's hard for many of us, including me, to read the chat. Technical questions, please put into chat to AAUW of the Oregon, and I will assist you. My name for the technical is AAUW of Oregon. My name for voting is Nancy Brown. So I have my second computer here so that I can see what's happening on your computer, and that's the one I will be voting on. Any questions? I'll open to questions right now. If you want to put your space bar down, if you want to ask a question, otherwise we'll get going.
How do you put your hand down after you voted?
The same place that you put it up, or I should be able to put them all down, but sometimes I don't find it fast. So if they've been counted and I haven't got there yet, go ahead and you just use the same place and you put with the reactions and put your hand down. Okay. I just want to acknowledge you all for being here. We have 100 participants currently in the room. I had to go into the background, the back, whatever it is of Zoom and add additional funds so that we could have more than 100 participants. So I did that a couple of minutes ago. I just want to acknowledge you all. So if you've got friends, we got room for them now. So let's have a great time. Thanks much.
Nancy, thank you. I'm going to officially title you the Mute Police. Your new name. That we want to give a really, really strong thank you to Nancy Brown, who's our events coordinator, and Pat Squire, who are program director. Without them, this would not be happening. You have no idea how many hours they put behind the scenes and how many emails and sessions there have been. So to them, we are eternally grateful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd like to recognize the following leaders, and thank you for being with us at this annual meeting. We have an additional Oregon member serving AAUW National. Claudia Gray, woohoo, Hillsborough Forest Grove, is a member of the Legacy Team Circle team, I said that backwards, and also serves as the National Advancement Committee. So Claudia, thank you for all of your work. At this point, I'd like to introduce our past state presidents. Oregon is proud to have so many past state presidents active and involved in our state organization. 15 of them are here as delegates with this state meeting. And that says so much for AAUW of Oregon when our past presidents stay active. Okay. So we're not able to highlight each one of them. So if you hear your name, just give a quick wave because we can't bring you up individually. Nancy, it's just not possible to do that. So Claudia Gray, Gloria Martin, Gail Clayson, Margaret Drummond, Alice Bartelt, Linda O'Hara, Margie Ridout, Betsy McDowell, Marty Stevens, Kenny Hootenpile, Kathy DeWolf, Cynthia Rauscher, Joyce Sook, Kathy Dew, and Georgia Applegate. Thank you all for being here. We also have 2 college university representatives who are invited to attend from 14 college and universities. Thank you, Heidi Luquette from Tillamook Bay Community College and Dolores Molnaric from Willamette University. Our college and universities are Blue Mountain Community College, Chemeketa Community College, Clatsop Community College, Lane Community College, Lynn Benton Community College, Mount Hood Community College, Oregon Coast Community College, Oregon Institute of Technology, Pacific University, Rogue Community College, Southern Oregon University, Tillamook Bay Community College, University of Oregon, and Willamette University. Thank you to our universities for taking part with AAUW. I'd also want to recognize our state leadership team members, committee chairs, branch presidents, branch board members, and committee chairs. We appreciate the work you do and the contributions you make to this organization in Oregon. we have such an incredible leadership team throughout the state, and we truly, truly, truly appreciate it. At this point, I'm going to recognize our branch presidents. And again, I wish we could spotlight you, but wave when you hear ya. Albany's Teresa Johnson and Vicki Steffelbach. Ashland is Catherine Lutz. Astoria is Liz Bartel. Baker, Wanda Rafferty and Heather Rudolph. Bend, Jean McEldowney and Caitlin O'Donnell. Eugene Lane, Sheila Rammerman. Grants Pass, Kathleen Ramirez and Nancy Tano. Gresham area, Bonnie Jepson and Peggy Taylor. Hillsborough, Forest Grove, Donna Wellington. Lake Oswego, Catherine Hojum. Lakeview, Deb Watts. Lincoln City, Susan Welke. Pendleton, Susan Badger Doyle and Catherine Cheney. Portland, Susan Martins and Kathy Rates. Roseburg, Betty Mack. Salem, Joyce Zook. Seaside, Karen Beck and Julie Weinberg. Tigard area, Aliyoshi Kioka. Tillamook, Susan Pierce. Wallowa County, Susan Gilstrap. In Yamhill County, Linda O'Hara. And Medford is Carol Kozak, was out of the loop there. Our state leadership team members work hard. And again, you guys should see all the behind the scenes work that everybody does. But I'd like to recognize them and give them a major salute of gratitude. Our communications vice president is Ilga Ross. Finance vice president is Monica Wahe. Membership vice president is Jenny Didium. Program vice president is Pat Squire. Secretary Marie Mueller. Northeast District Director Karen King. North Central District Director Mary Pat Silvera. Northwest District Director Susan Welke. South District Director Pam Shea. AAUW Funds Chairs are Claudia Gray and Betsy McDowell. Dues Treasurer Database is Jenny Didium. Events Coordinator Nancy Brown. Governance Committee, Betsy McDowell and Claudia Gray, co-chair. Nominating Committee Chair is Susan Welke. Oregon News Editor is Barbara Kaufman. Parliamentarian is Alice Bartelt. Public Policy, Trish Garner. Work Smart, Start Smart, Nancy Thomas. Technology Committee Chair, Georgia Applegate. Webmaster, Heather Marija. And yes, there we are. And there are so many of you that we haven't mentioned on it. But thank you for making AAUW Oregon successful and for your work that you do. We totally appreciate you. For announcements, there are several processes that will help the meeting move forward. With credentials, you were credentialed at the beginning of the meeting and identified as a delegate. That's why we have our little Ds in front of us. To make a motion, we want you to type it into the chat box and Marie Mueller will take it from there. Announcements will be made at the end of the session. So type your messages to Secretary Marie Mueller. You can individualize that in chat and title it announcement so she knows to prioritize that. So I would now like to introduce my co-president and my esteemed second half, Pat Lehman.
Thank you, Sue. My esteemed second half. What a great team member Sue is. She has just been an incredible co-president, and I really appreciate everything that she does. Okay, the 97th State Annual Meeting of the American Association of University Women is now in session. There. The business session will come to order. I want to introduce the people who keep track of the many details surrounding the business meeting portions of our annual meeting. Helping us are Marie Mueller, Secretary, Alice Bartelt, Parliamentarian, and Nancy Brown, who is running this Zoom meeting. Our timekeeper is Suzanne Harmony. Big thanks to all of you. You have done a wonderful job and are continuing to do so. The purpose of our annual meeting is to conduct the business of the state, including the election of officers and the receiving of reports from officers and committee chairs. Officers' reports were sent to you earlier in a booklet form, and I hope that you have read them. Other reports will be referenced during the business session. Before we have the first report by the Credentials Committee, I want to explain that some members hold more than one position in AAUW. They have the option to choose the one position in which to vote at this annual meeting. May we now have the first report by the Credentials Committee Chair, Mary Pat Silvera.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The meeting workbook, which you have all received, which is dated April 9th, 2022, reflects the delegate representation as of 9 April 2022 on pages 10 to 12, with one exception. We have an additional delegate today from Medford, Lisa Hughes. So the numbers will change, and please add the name of Lisa Hughes to representation from Medford District branch, excuse me. Sorry, my papers got mixed up here. The list of credential delegates includes 18 of a possible 24 members of the state leadership team, plus one additional member who is today representing her branch, the chair of the state convention committee, 8 of a possible 22 past state presidents, plus an additional 7 who are representing either the state leadership team or their respective branches, 64, not 63, but 64 branch delegates out of a possible 67, representing every single branch in the state, and 2 college university representatives out of a possible 14. So altogether, we have 92 registered delegates out of a possible 127. As chair of the Credentials Committee, I certify that this reports the number of delegates registered at this annual meeting as of today, April 9th, 2022 at 11:25 a.m. On behalf of the committee, I move the adoption of this report.
And no second is required, as the motion does come from a committee. Are there any questions at this time? If there is no objection, the report of the Credentials Committee is now adopted. Thank you, Mary Pat, for doing a stellar job of keeping track of all of this. Alice Bartelt, parliamentarian, will now give the annual meeting rules report.
Okay, the annual meeting rules are printed in your workbook on page 9. And unless someone wants them read, we won't read them. Anybody that feels that we need to read them? Not seeing anybody jump into it. Okay. Then I make the following motion. I move the adoption of the annual meeting rules.
Thank you, Alice. And again, no second is required. Are there any questions at this time? If there is no objection, the annual meeting rules are adopted. Thank you so much, Alice, for all your work. The annual meeting rules have been adopted, and now we move on to the agenda. If there is no objection, the agenda will be adopted for this meeting, with the chair reserving the right to make any necessary changes. Since I hear no objections, the chair declares the agenda adopted. A special thank you goes to Ilga Ross and Marie Mueller for putting together the books. Ilga did the workbook, Marie did the officers' reports. They did a wonderful job. They're beautiful documents, and we're proud to have them. Thank you so much. The Credentials have established the presence of a quorum. With the adoption of the reports of Credentials, rules, and agenda, this annual meeting is now officially organized to conduct business. I now call on Wanda Rafferty to report on the results of the committee to review the minutes of the 2021 state business meeting. And I thank Carol Kozik from Medford, Susan Henderson Pierce from Tillamook Branch, and Wanda Rafferty from Baker Branch for their work on last year's minutes. Wanda? Wanda? There you are.
I unmuted. The committee appointed to review the minutes verifies that the minutes of the 2021 annual meeting are complete and accurate.
Thank you very much for your work and the work of your committee. We really appreciate that. And if there is no objection, the minutes are approved. Thank you. The following members are now appointed to serve as the committee to read the 2022 meeting minutes. Holly Alexander from Eugene Lane Branch, Barbara Turnus from Hillsborough Forest Grove Branch, and Madison Yoshioka from Tigard Area Branch. Thanks to all of you for volunteering for this important task. Financial report. The financial report appears with the Finance Vice President's report on pages 12 to 13 in the workbook. And the financial review report is on page 14. If there is no objection, the financial review committee report will be approved and the financial report will be filed for review. I now call on Ginny Didium to give the membership report. Ginny?
This is so embarrassing. I did not know I was supposed to give a report. Obviously, I must have checked out someplace. So I guess what I can report is that our membership at present stands at 1,039 members. This is members of the branch, honorary lifetime members, paid lifetime members, students, and dual members both in and out of the state. We had an increase in membership. We had a retention rate of approximately 86% this year, which is the best we've done in several years. And look forward to what the new year brings.
Thank you very much. I know you've had a particularly challenging time recently, so we really appreciate that. And my goodness, we certainly apologize for not making sure that you knew about the report. Okay, we will now receive the report from the Governance Committee from Betsy McDowell, co-chair.
Thank you, Madam President. Betsy McDowell, Salem Branch. I want to start by applauding my co-chair, Claudia Gray of Hillsborough Forest Grove, for being relentless in her pursuit of the best possible language and meaning for our governing documents. It's been a rewarding 2 years working together. And Alice has a quick introduction to our motions. Or I can do it. We have 3 proposed state bylaws amendments coming from committee and therefore do not need a second. They've been approved by the AAUW Board of Directors and published with rationale in the Oregon News to serve as required notice to the members. They can be found on page 12 and 13 in the workbook. And our first motion is to move that Article 10, Officers, Section 2, be amended by striking Historian, College University Relations Chair, Local Arrangements Committee Chair, Dues Data Manager, Oregon News Editor, Web Manager, and adding, and shall be listed in policies at the end of the sentence. Also, by striking, in making such appointments, the president shall have, by adding with, before due regard, and by striking and rotation of members. So that's a mouthful, but if it is adopted by you, the members, it should read, the appointed officers of this state shall be a parliamentarian, AAUW funds chair, public policy chair, governance chair, and such other officers as may be considered necessary to carry on the work of the state and shall be listed in policies. They shall be appointed by the president in consultation with the executive committee with due regard for geographical representation.
Thank you, Betsy. The motion is to amend Article 10, Officers Section 2 by amending the provision to read, the appointed officers of this state shall be a parliamentarian, AAUW Funds Chair, Public Policy Chair, Governance Chair, and such other officers as may be considered necessary to carry on the work of the state and shall be listed in policies. They shall be appointed by the President in consultation with the Executive Committee with due regard for geographical representation. Is there any discussion? Hearing now discussion, we will now proceed.
Excuse me, Mary Mayer has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. Mary?
And she disappeared.
That's interesting.
Mary?
Yes.
Well, maybe,
Here we
oh,
go.
there she is.
Voting.
Okay.
Maybe she was voting early.
I was probably voting early. Thank you. Just had a question about, I thought that in order to have officers that we had to have a treasurer in there somewhere, financial. And all I saw in that proposed changes to the bylaws was a funds chair. And I think it's important that we add some sort of financial officer or treasurer there.
Can I respond? These are appointed officers, and you're correct. We need that elected officer, the financial vice president, yes, or finance vice president. These are appointed offices.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we will now proceed to the vote. All of those in favor of amending Article 10, Section 2, please raise your virtual hand. Thank you. Do we have a count?
We have people that didn't follow the rules. We've got 64, there we go, 64 virtual, 63 virtual hands raised. Thank you.
That is a majority. Okay, please lower your virtual hand. Okay. All those hands down.
They're not all down yet, just a second.
No, they're not. I see that. Thank you.
Virtual hands down, clapping down.
Including Nancy
I'm supposed to be
Brown.
able to do it, but I'm not finding it.
Your hand still needs to be put
Yeah.
down.
Oh, thank you. It's my hand.
Yes. Many hands.
Second computer. There's one more. Whose is it?
Okay, so we do have a majority, so the ayes have it and the motion is adopted. Betsy, please present the other proposal.
I move that Article 11, Duties of Officers, Section 3, Duties of Appointed Officers, be amended by striking the entire section. This information will be contained in Policies, Section 110.
Thank you. The motion is to strike Section 3 of Article 11, Duties of Officers. The information will be contained in the AAUW of Oregon Policies, Section 110. Is there any discussion? Seeing no one wanting to speak, we will take the vote.
There is.
Oh, there is. Oh dear, I'm not seeing this, so I'm sorry. Somebody has to tell me.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe I'm wrong. Oh, now I don't see her.
It's Judy Coyle. No, it wasn't. Who was it? Who had their hand up?
Maybe somebody was just anticipating the vote.
Maybe.
Okay, well, apparently no one wants to speak, so we'll take the vote. All those in favor of striking Article 11, Section 3, please raise your virtual hand.
We have 77.
Thank you. Please lower your virtual hand. Oops. Get those hands down. Thank you. We're all hands down. Okay, all those opposed to striking Article 10, Section 3, please raise your virtual hand. This is the opposition. If you are opposed to striking Article 11, Section 3, that's when your hand should be up.
We had a few people and now their hands are down, so I'm not sure.
Right, but it looks like a majority, right?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely, right. All right, we will take that as belief that the ayes have it and the motion is adopted. Thank you. And Betsy, one more.
Last motion, I move to amend Article 15 committees, Section 4A standing committees by adding a new subsection 8, which would read 8. The Committee on Technology will provide training for members, coordinate media for state meetings, secure and maintain the web-based shared document interface, and create and monitor AAUW of Oregon's social media presence.
Thank you. The motion is to add a new Section 8 to Article 15, Section 4A, to define the Committee on Technology. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we will now take the vote. All those in favor of adding a new Section 8 to Article 15, Section 4A, please raise your virtual hand.
We have 75 raised hands and 2 claps.
Okay. Thank you. I guess they count. Their hands anyway. All right, please lower your virtual hands.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to mute.
Hands down. All of those opposed to adding a new Section 8 to Article 15, Section 4A, please raise your virtual hand. Okay. Thank you. If your hand was up, please lower it. The ayes have it and the motion is adopted. Thank you so much to the Governance Committee for all your work this year and for presenting us with new bylaws and policies. Thank you. I now recognize Patricia Garner, to present the public policy program goals for 2022-2024 in your workbook, pages 14 and 15. Trish, please introduce your committee.
Yes, hello, everyone. I want to not only introduce, but sincerely thank the State Public Policy Committee. I'm going to name our members: Georgia Applegate, Regina Ayers, Claire Berger, Beth Gebstad, Sue Klumpf, Pat Lehman, Linda Liebecker, Sharon Noon, Nadine Rosen, Joe Rossman, and Mary Pat Silvera. And I know this is not supposed to be done, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to depart from the script. I'm also a member of a national committee, which is the DEI National Committee. Another thing is after serving 8 years.
Trish, I'm sorry. What's DEI, please?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. The next is that after serving 8 years as state public policy chair, I will be stepping down at the end of my term, which is, I believe, at the end of June. It was not an easy decision. I do it with, mixed feelings. I just have to thank again all of you who have extended yourself, made efforts in terms of AAUW of Oregon public policy. Absolutely no way I could have done it without you. Another thing that I'd like to announce is, and some thanks to Georgia Applegate and Peggy Shippen. The three of us got together a branch public policy chair toolkit, which is available. It's pretty thorough. I hope that you contact either myself or Georgia to get a copy of it. But as to the addition to the AAUW of Oregon Public Policy Program goals for 2022 to 2024, they remain the same except in the section on economic self-sufficiency and security to add all persons to have affordable access to electronic and other communication systems. You'll find, this information on, I guess it's being put up there. On behalf of the Public Policy Committee, I move that AAUW of Oregon adopt the addition to the public policy program goals for 2022-2024 by adding to the economic self-sufficiency and security section the following language: the ability of all persons to have affordable access to electronic and other communications systems. Thanks.
Thank you, Trish. And we are sorry to see you leave the committee, but, or not leave the committee, but leave the leadership. We have really appreciated your leadership, and you're leaving the committee in good hands. So thank you very much for that. The motion comes from a committee and does not require a second. This motion is to add to the economic self-sufficiency and security section of the public policy program goals for 2022-2024 the following: the ability of all persons to have affordable access to electronic and other communication systems. Is there any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, we will vote. All those in favor of the public policy program goals, economic self-sufficiency and security section, please raise your virtual hand. Getting good at this.
We have 75 raised hands and 74 raised hands and a handshake, but now it's gone. So 74 raised hands.
Thank you, Nancy. Please lower your virtual hands. All those opposed to this motion, please raise your virtual hand. See anybody? Okay, thank you. Those in favor have it, and the motion is adopted. And we thank you again, Trish, for all your work. We will now hear the report of the nominating committee from the chair, Susan Wilkie.
Thank you, Pat. The other members of the 2021 nominating committee are Kathy Wolf from Medford, Kathy Gervasi from Tillamook, Teresa Johnson from Albany, Linda O'Hara, Yamhill County, and the alternate was Jill Hefner from Pendleton. Thank you for all your work getting these nominations to go forward today. Thank you. The recommendations, we do have some vacancies, some open positions. Do I hear a motion to fill the position of Central District Director?
Yes, Madam Chair, Linda O'Hara talking. I nominate who actually nominated herself. She volunteered Joyce Zook from the Salem branch to be the Central District's Central Areas District Director.
Thank you, Linda.
Yes, thank you, Linda. We will add Joyce Zook as the Central District nominee.
We also have two positions on next year's nominating committee that are open. Can we ask for volunteers at this time? Okay.
Nobody yet.
Hearing none, I will go forward with the recommendations from the committee.
Somebody has their hand up.
We have the hand up from Claire Berger.
Oh, okay.
Were you agreeing? Well, you are already on the list to be on the nominating committee. Thank you, Claire. So the recommendations that we are setting forth today to fill the two-year term starting July 1st, 2022 are Communications Vice President Kelly Matthews from Eugene Lane Branch, Membership Vice President Catherine Lutz from Ashland, Northeast District Director Karen King from Pendleton, Northwest District Director Kathy Gervasi from Tillamook, Central District Director Joyce Zook from Salem. We are also putting forward the following nominating committee nominees: Claire Berger from Hillsborough Forest Grove, Pat Lehman from Seaside, Teresa Johnson from Albany to serve as the continuing member, and Linda O'Hara from Yamhill County as the alternate. Thank you to my committee for getting these people to volunteer.
Thank you, Susan. May I remind everybody that Joyce has not yet been elected as Central District Director. So I'm assuming that that is in abeyance for the time being until such time as she may be elected. And I thank you, Susan, and members of your committee. In lieu of candidates for uncontested races giving speeches, we ask that you refer to the candidate biographies, which are found on pages 16 and 17 in your workbook. You've heard the report of the nominating committee. We will now open nominations from the floor for each office. A second is not required. Nominations require the written consent of the nominee, which would be given to me. To speed the process, I'd like to remind you that a motion to close the nominations requires a vote, which takes a 2/3 majority to pass. So if there are no nominations and you remain silent, we can proceed directly to the next office without a vote, saving considerable time. And we do want to make this as quick as we can. Nominations for statewide office may be made by any credentialed delegate. However, nominations for a district director may be made only by a credentialed delegate from a branch in that district. And I'm assuming everybody knows what district you're in. Are there nominations from the floor for the office of Communications Vice President? Hearing none, nominations for Communications Vice President are now closed. All those in favor of electing Kelly Matthews for Communications Vice President, please raise your virtual hand.
Seventy-one hands. There was one clap, it went away.
Okay, thank you. Please lower your virtual hands now. All those opposed to electing Kelly Matthews as Communications Vice President, please raise your virtual hand.
Opposed to Kelly Matthews? We have one virtual hand.
Thank you. Please lower your virtual hand. The yes votes have it, and Kelly Matthews is elected Communications Vice President. Wonderful. Are there nominations from the floor for the office of Membership Vice President? Hearing none, the nominations for Membership Vice President are now closed. All those in favor of electing Catherine Lutz for Membership Vice President, please raise your virtual hand.
72 and 2 claps.
All right, which we will count. Okay, thank you. Please lower your virtual hands. All those opposed to electing Catherine Lutz for Membership Vice President, please raise your virtual hand. I see one. Do you see more, Nancy?
No, that's
Just
it.
one. Okay. Please lower your virtual hand. Thank you. The yes votes have it, and Catherine Lutz is elected Membership Vice President. Nominations are now for the office of Northeast District Director. Are there nominations from Northeast District Director members only for this office? Hearing none, the nominations for Northeast District Director are now closed. All those members in Northeast District in favor of electing Karen King for Northeast District Director, please raise your virtual hand.
I have 16 upraised hands.
Okay, thank you. Please lower your virtual hand.
Okay.
Okay. All those members in Northeast District opposed to electing Karen King, I'm sorry, for Northeast District Director, please raise your virtual hand. Anybody?
No.
Okay. Thank you. The yes votes have it, and Karen King is elected Northeast District Director.
Madam Chair, Pat? I
Yes.
just want to remind everybody, you can only vote in your own district. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
cannot vote for somebody in a different district.
Right. And you saw my hand up. My primary branch is Northeast. Okay, now, thank you, Sue. Now nominations are open for the office of Northwest District Director. Are there any nominations for this office from the members of the district only?
Pat, would it be helpful for you to say what branches are in the district? So if members are uncertain.
Okay, Northwest is Astoria, Seaside, Lincoln City.
Tillamook.
Tillamook, thank you. I'm a member, I should know that. Okay, and Tillamook, right, 4 branches. Okay, hearing no nominations from anyone in the Northwest District, the nominations for Northwest District Director are now closed. All those in Northwest District Director in favor of electing Kathy Gervasi for Northwest District Director, please raise your virtual hand.
We have 8 hands raised.
Thank you. Please lower your virtual hand.
Okay.
Okay. All those in Northwest District opposed to electing Kathy Gervasi as the Northwest District Director, please raise your virtual hand. Any hands up?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. The yes votes have it, and Kathy Gervasi is elected Northwest District Director. Nominations are now in order for the office of Central District Director. Are there nominations from Central District members for this office?
I move that we nominate Joyce Zook for Central District Director.
Okay. Thank you. Any others? Hearing nothing further, the nominations for Central District Director are now closed. All those members in Central District, and that includes Bend, Albany, Yamhill County,
Salem.
Salem, thank you, and one
Eugene.
more. Eugene Lane, thank you. All those members in Central District in favor of electing Joyce Zook for Central District Director, please raise your virtual hand.
I have 15 virtual hands raised.
Okay. Thank you. Please lower your virtual hand then.
Okay.
Okay. All those members in Central District opposed to electing Joyce Zook for Central District Director, please raise your virtual hand. The yes votes have it, and Joyce Zook is elected Central District Director. Nominations are now in order for the nominating committee. Are there any further nominations for the nominating committee? Hearing none, the nominations for nominating committee are now closed. We need 2 more people to serve on the nominating committee. So keep that in mind and be willing to volunteer after you've thought about it. All those in favor of electing Claire Berger, Pat Lehman, Linda O'Hara, and Teresa Johnson to the nominating committee, please raise your virtual hand. And this can be from all branches, of course.
All right, I have 70 votes. Thank you.
Hey, please lower your virtual hand now.
All right.
Okay, thank you. All those opposed, please raise your virtual hand.
No hands?
No hands. Okay. The yes votes have it, and Claire Berger, Pat Lehman, Linda O'Hara, and Teresa Johnson are now elected to the nominating committee. Thank you very, very much. And that concludes our elections. Please join me in congratulating these newly elected officers. You can use your reactions to send claps or hearts or just do that. Thank you very much, everybody. And thanks also to the nominating committee for your good work in finding people to fill our wonderful positions. Okay, great. The next item of business is information regarding the 2023 annual meeting. I now recognize Nancy Brown, who has many hats, but one of them, one of the most important, is our events coordinator. So Nancy.
Next year, we are going to be in Ashland. We are going to this time. We are going to be in Ashland at the Ashland Hills Hotel and Suites in April. I think it's 14th through 16th. Somebody check for me. It's my anniversary weekend, whatever it is. That's when we're going to be in Ashland, and we are going to make it this year. This is our third year we planned for Ashland, so we're going to do it. And I want you all to come. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to see each other in person and give hugs and all that sort of stuff. So please join us in Ashland. It's gorgeous in Ashland in April, and I want you there. And if you don't come, I know how to find you. So join us in Ashland.
Thank you, Nancy. And if you don't come, Nancy knows how to lower your virtual hand, so you better show up.
So there are two virtual hands raised, Wanda and Linda O'Hara. I don't know if you saw. Wanda went away.
And Wanda, Linda O'Hara, thank you. Oops. She's still there. Maybe she's just waving.
That's because I want to talk.
Oh,
I have a question, Madam Chair. I have a question, or I
Yes,
have a comment, if I might. Okay. To speak about the nominations committee, I know sometimes people are very reluctant to volunteer for anything. And having been on the nominating committee for a year, and now I'm the new alternate, truly, believe me when I say the time commitment is minimal. It's one of the best committees to be on because you are not active for very long. However, I will be honest and say the work that you do is critical in a short period of time. Yes. And you need to be contacting people who might be interested in serving at the state level. So it's intense for a couple of months, but it's not very long. Trust me, it's rewarding. I highly recommend it. Please, we need 2 people to come on. Yes, you've got time. This is April. You've probably got till fall to really make up your mind, but don't leave us hanging. Please consider it. Please consider it.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda, for your
Absolutely.
testimony.
And lastly, Nancy, you said it's like the 14th and 6th through the 16th next year. Is that right?
I don't know. I don't have my calendar in front of me.
Well, I'm looking at it, and I hope that's right, because we always check in April for Easter, and Easter next year is the 9th. So that would be the weekend after Easter. So that's really perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
April 14th to 16th are the correct date for next year.
Okay, good. They'll be after Easter. Wahoo. Thank you, everybody.
Yes,
and Oregon Shakespeare Theater should have started by then, I hope.
Oh, good. All right. It's a win-win. Okay. Thank you, Nancy, and everyone, and Linda, and so forth. The last item.
Georgia Applegate has her hand raised.
Oh, okay, Georgia.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on Linda O'Hara's comment because I was on the nominating committee the last time around, and it wasn't until I was on the nominating committee that I realized how significant and how important the nominating committee truly is. Because when you're on the nominating committee, you in fact choose, or you're part of a group that chooses the future of this organization, because you choose the people that are going to lead in the future. Very, very significant. And she's right. It's kind of intense for a little while, but it isn't long and drawn out. So do please consider being on the nominating committee. The people for next year, for the next convention, the people that will be elected to fill those offices are very, very important because there are more offices to fill. So please consider volunteering to be on the nominating committee. Very important. Your work will be very worthwhile. Thank you, Linda, for saying that.
Thank you, Georgia, for adding your endorsement. Yes, it is a very critical committee. Okay, and finally.
We have another comment from Marty Stevens.
Okay, Marty. Go ahead.
Thank you. This isn't a comment. I've been waiting for a new business. Are we having it?
The new business, we've started it. That was Nancy's discussion about the Ashland Hills. And we have one more item of new business. Do you have something?
Well, unless it is the one item you have, I would like to have us address the idea of not having delegates at our convention, and we have an open membership. So I would really like the state leadership to take a look at that concept.
Okay.
I have fairly good certainty that I will be continuing as governance chair when Linda Liebecker assumes the presidency on July 1st. And I fully, I've been thinking about it. We've got some drafts, and yes, thank you, Marty.
Yeah.
It is in the purview of governance. And I would love to have some committee members. I'm Betsy McDowell from Salem. And if you can reach me or Claudia Gray in Hillsborough Forest Grove, if you're interested in contributing to the governance committee, we would love to have you. And so that would be, yes, I guess is what, what I've got to say. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Marty. So we're not going to introduce this as new business at this point, but thank you very much for the heads up. Finally, the last item of business is a courtesy resolution from the governance committee. I recognize governance co-chair Claudia Gray, who will present the resolution. Claudia.
Thank you, Pat. This is a courtesy resolution from the governance committee, so it was not vetted by the public policy committee. And when it is adopted, it will stand for 1 year in the state secretary's records. Then it will be retired. Its purpose is to serve as a historical document to capture some of the events of the past biennium. This is a resolution for AAUW of Oregon annual meeting. Whereas COVID, soon known as a global pandemic, affected our lives starting in 2019, and whereas members sewed or bought face masks to wear and isolated at home as directed by the CDC, the Oregon Health Authority, and AAUW rules, and whereas Oregon and Washington AAUW leaders traveled, negotiated, planned, and selected meals for an elegant bi-state convention in 2020, which was then, after painful deliberation, canceled. And whereas AAUW of Oregon Program Vice President Pat Squire and the AAUW of Oregon Event Coordinator Nancy Brown taught members how to set up, use, and communicate on Zoom at both the 2020 and the 2021 online summer leadership camps. And whereas branch and state boards met using Zoom instead of in person, and whereas branch meetings and study interest groups were on hiatus or were conducted on Zoom, and whereas the 2021 AAUW of Oregon annual meeting was held via Zoom, and whereas the Oregon Communications Vice President, Ilga Ross, increased the number of state news releases to members and updated the state website to function as an information hub, and whereas Georgia Applegate and the AAUW Oregon Technology Committee shared new modes of communication, developing our Google Drive, YouTube channel, office hours, and online workshops. And whereas members Zoomed to the diversity workshops and lobby days organized by AAUW of Oregon Public Policy Chair Trish Garner and event coordinator Nancy Brown. And whereas membership Vice President Ginny Didium succeeded with membership diminished by only 5.5% and with 8 branches gaining members. And whereas AAUW of Oregon members' 2021 contributions to AAUW funds exceeded all prior years, partly as a result of the $140 140th anniversary challenge for AAUW, and whereas AAUW of Oregon Secretary Marie Mueller kept us on track with complete and accurate minutes of our meetings. And whereas locations and program events for the AAUW of Oregon 2022 annual meeting in Ashland were secured and then rescheduled to Zoom due to rising infection rates in January. And whereas AAUW of Oregon co-presidents Sue Klump and Pat Lehman never got to hold an actual state meeting in person, which denied them personal rewards and frankly, lots of fun. Therefore, be it resolved that we are all hereby proclaimed survivors of the pandemic, standing together, wiser but also sadder for our losses, which is a bond in AAUW that was tested and proven strong in spite of harsh challenges. And therefore, be it resolved that we honor our members, all of the branch presidents for 2020 through 2022, and especially AAUW of Oregon co-presidents Sue Klump and Pat Lehman, who provided compassion, spirit, insight, humor, and strength in the most difficult of times.
Wow. Thank you so much, Claudia.
Thank you.
All in favor of this resolution, please raise your virtual hand.
All right, I have 74 virtual hands, one clap. I had a heart and a thumbs up too, but 74 virtual hands.
Thank you. And only the aye votes need to be taken on a courtesy resolution. And so this resolution is adopted. And thank you very much, Governance Committee, for putting on this together.
Thank you, Claudia and Betsy, for encapsulating our last 2 years in statement. We appreciate having that actually in writing and our gratitude.
Yes.
I'm sorry, raise my hand.
You're ever so welcome. And I wanted to let you know that Marie Mueller was the person who recommended we do this. Thank you, Marie.
Well, thanks to Marie as well. Thank you. Our faithful secretary who did amazing work. And speaking of Marie, are there any announcements? And don't forget, if you have announcements to make, direct them to Marie in the chat, please.
I have not to date seen any.
We'll give it a second to see if anybody wants to say anything. Why is Sheila's hand up?
Because I did send an announcement to Marie in the chat just a couple of minutes ago.
Okay. Are you seeing that, Marie?
Okay, announcement, Eugene Lane Branch. Our June branch meeting will be a Title IX celebration with Vicki Dugan and Becky Sisley as speakers. And she gave us an email, which is in your chat too, to register.
Okay, thank you. And for those of you who are newer members, Vicki Dugan was a coach at OSU who was discriminated against, and LAF, the Legal Advocacy Fund, and Oregon members supported her in her quest for equity, and she won. And she has been, since then, a wonderful supporter of AAUW. So that would be a great opportunity to see Vicki again and hear an update on her situation as well.
Can you put that link to everyone in the chat, because I don't see it? So the link for the Eugene program, because I definitely want to see Vicki. I haven't seen her in 20 years.
For those of you that don't know Becky Sisley, she was director, athletic director for women's athletics at the University of Oregon for many, many years. So she's got a very interesting perspective.
Excellent.
Yes.
Is this going to be an in-person or virtual meeting?
Both. We're doing hybrid meetings.
Good for you.
And you can look at the AAUW Oregon website for all the branch newsletters, and those announcements are held in there as well.
Right.
Okay, there are 2 more announcements.
Okay.
Salem branch invites all and volunteers to assist in World Beat Festival, in which AAUW members will support DEI and volunteer in a hospitality booth.
Okay, Thank you.
Okay, next one.
Everybody get that? Okay, diversity, equity, inclusion. Yeah.
This
Go
is
ahead.
from Sherry Schroeder. Passing of Sheena Poland, Medford Branch, a longtime activist for AAUW mission and vision, a well-traveled lady and devoted to serving as chair member of many branch committees and very active participant in AAUW Oregon State Conventions. She was a continuing donor to AAUW funds. She will be honored and very much missed.
Thank you very much.
And a little tag along. World Beat Festival is June 25th and 26th, Saturday and Sunday at Salem Waterfront Park.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, and I see Sheila has put up the email there. Good. Is that it for announcements? Is there any further business? If not, then we bring to a close the 97th State Business Meeting of AAUW of Oregon. I declare this annual business meeting adjourned sine die. Thank you.